Welcome to Fine Living, presented by Jim Reif Builders on 1240 Radio WOMT.
And welcome back to Fine Living right here at 1240 Radio WOMT. We are speaking with Jim Reif from Jim Reif Builders. Again, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Terry.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. Jim, we are continuing our discussion from last week. Last week was part one of fall maintenance tips. We talked a lot, some really, really good maintenance tips there. And if you missed the program last week, listeners can get it on your website.
That's correct.
Is brand new.
And yes, it is. And brand new. I'm sure people love it.
JimReifBuilders.com.
Correct.
So check that out.
And we're also on Facebook with the Fine Living shows, too.
There you go. Absolutely. So check that out if you missed last week's show. But this is part two of fall maintenance tips. And Jim, the question first off is, what about air conditioners?
Okay. For a lot of years, the perception has been out there that, you should cover your air conditioner and, wrap it all the way around. And you want to use some caution with that. If you want to cover your air conditioner, I would just, get like a nice piece of plywood or something and cover just the top of it. Because if you wrap it all the way around, it potentially gives a spot for rodents to harbor. And then
Which would not be good.
Not good. And then you get in there with the rodents, and then they might say, well, this foam or this insulation or that wiring looks tempting, and let's nibble on that. So, we just encourage people to cover the top of it, kind of keep the snow from laying on top of it,
Sure.
but leave the outsides kind of exposed. That's kind of a tip, simple
Great
tip.
tip.
For
I would have not thought that, but now it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What about gutters?
Again, you want to, after the leaves are coming off, you want to make sure you get those gutters cleaned out. It's going to help prevent ice damming. It's going to, when spring rolls around, get that water out of there. And also with the gutters is to make sure your drainage or your grading around your house is proper so the water doesn't come back, because in spring when the ground is froze, and if we get a March or so rain and that frost is still in the ground, that water is going to follow the slope. It's not going to run away. It's not going to soak in. Mm-hmm. It's not going to soak in, and it's not going to run away properly. It's going to be coming towards your basement or in your basement windows or something like that.
Okay. Window wells would be the next topic.
A lot of people have those little galvanized window wells around their basement windows.
Yes.
And again, there could be some leaves and stuff in it that's blown in there. Not a bad idea to get those cleaned out. Again, keep rodents from harboring in there. And then secondly, you want to also make sure that the grade inside that window well is at least 6 inches below the window entrance. So again, water doesn't build up and run into the window.
Okay. Jim, there's just so many little tips like this that are not going to cost people a lot of time or money, but if they don't do it, could do a lot of damage.
Correct. Definitely.
Moving on here, garage holes
I'm sorry.
faucets.
I'm sorry, Terry. I that was supposed to be
I'm
garden.
reading this and I'm trying to figure out what is a garage hole.
I was in a rush. It's garden hoses.
Garden.
So we have our laugh for the day, our little humor here,
Okay.
Little Robin Williams here. But anyway, you remove your garden hoses, especially now this time of year, even right away. You don't want those to freeze and not get into that faucet and freeze and break that faucet.
Now that makes sense. Moving down the list here, smoke detector batteries. It's something that so often I think a lot of people don't do, but again, it is so critical.
And they always talked about when the time changed to change your battery.
Mm-hmm.
But with this time of year getting cooler and they move the time change back a little bit, you could be, doing that burning of that fireplace or something like that, or whatever else, pellet stove. You want to make sure your batteries are good and your smoke detector's working properly so you don't have an issue.
Mm-hmm. Jim, I know that during this time of the year, a lot of people light a lot of candles.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're inside more. Maybe to help set the mood, it gets darker earlier, a little scent, and so on and so forth. But a couple things with candles, to make sure you have something hard surface like either a piece of metal plate, or a ceramic plate, something underneath there in case they burn down. It doesn't ruin furniture, countertops. I mean, if you have a Formica countertop, you could potentially burn into that, and that's wood below there, things like that. And then also, the thing is to remember that when you burn a candle, it actually puts off soot. So watch how many candles you've burned, because there's actually been something called ghosting out there caused by candles.
Interesting. I know a lot of people have patio furniture, and the question there is, what do they do for some maintenance regarding that?
Some people buy covers, some people store it inside, but just a tip to, get it cleaned up, get it put away, something like that. You also may want to consider getting if you're done mowing your lawn, get the lawnmower in and get it serviced now. Get it all ready for spring, and then it's done. Instead of having to rush, and then there's a line of 50 people in front of you.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Huh?
I was there this past year.
So then it's all ready to go.
Absolutely. Just a few more quick ones here before the time runs out here. Outdoor equipment, as you mentioned, lawn mowers. Irrigation and small ponds.
Yes, a lot of people have gone to those little small ponds in their backyard. You may need to, either remove your fish or whatever, or a pump in that, take care of those types of things. Maybe you got to put a little winterizer in there for algae. And then irrigation system, a few people have that. Again, a reminder to call that irrigation person and get those lines blown out so you don't have a problem.
Absolutely. And drainage.
Yeah, now we were talking about the gutters a little bit to make sure, the water slopes away from your house so that it doesn't back up in spring.
Jim, a lot of great information. I know we covered a lot today, but listeners, if you want to get a copy of today's program, go over to the brand new JimReifBuilders.com, go to the Facebook page, and you can get a copy there. But Jim, right now, if people want to get a hold of you guys, they're planning a project, remodeling or new construction, now's the time to get a hold of you and start talking about opportunities.
That is correct. 684-6899, get us direct.
Jim, we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks for listening to Fine Living, presented by Jim Reif Builders, the leader in new construction and remodeling here on the Lakeshore. Let their vision enrich your lifestyle. Tune in again next week for another episode of Fine Living on 1240 Radio, WOMT. To learn more, visit JimReifBuilders.com.